During our first series of 999, thousands of people wrote to us and phoned us with details of people who just happened to be in the right place at the right time to save somebody's life. Most of them contacted us as a way of saying thank you to somebody who'd helped them. That's true of our next report. But Jano Vash also wanted to share an experience which has continued to change the way she feels about life. Her story begins in May on a seaside holiday on the Isle of Wight at Compton Beach, where Jan and her family were staying. We've used stunt women to show what happened to them in the interests of safety, but all of the rescuers play themselves.
Compton's probably the best beach on the island for surfing, and it was probably the best day of the year so far that day. There's a shore break and a secondary break. This causes sometimes an undertow, which can take you from the right side of the beach to the left side, which is okay for surfing. It just means you have to paddle towards the rip a bit more, but for bathing and swimming it can be a bit dangerous sometimes.
Compton Bay is one of the very few surfing beaches on the Isle of Wight. It's close to the Needles, at the end of a line of imposing white cliffs. The O'Vash family from Ealing in West London have been staying there for years, but Jan O'Vash has cause to remember last May bank holiday particularly well.
Claire, my younger daughter, and Gemma, my older daughter, decided to go down to the beach. So we packed our bags, put our swimming togs on, and off we went.
Hurry up! Oh, look, it's lovely out there.
My children and I absolutely adore the water and have always been water babies and are never out of it if we can possibly help it. And to that end have been strong swimmers.
Claire, wait for us! Hurry up! Okay, Claire. How are your shoulders today, Gemma? I'm not fussing. I want to get us lovely. Take this. All right.
That you can ultimately never take anything for granted.
I've been surfing like all day, and I come up the beach, Nadine come and join me, and we just went up the beach, and I was just telling her really how excellent a day's surf it was.
I got major drill. Brilliant.
It's brilliant. Mum, look up this. Okay, darling. Come on, I want to go in. Hurry up. Come on. Okay. Bring the ring. Okay. Oh, I'm going to be in before you. Come on, Mum. Oh, thank you. Okay, it's your asthma again, isn't it? Where's your inhaler in your bag? I left it at the cottage. Oh, darling. Look, you're going to have to go and sit on the beach for a couple of minutes until you feel better. Oh, Mum. Do you want me to come with you? No. You go in with Gemma. Come on, Mum. Come on. Go on, then.
I realised that it was rough, and so I decided that we shouldn't go in for long and certainly not go out far.
Next wave that comes, count to three, I'll jump over the top. 1, 2, 3.
We weren't aware that we were obviously going out, or seemed to be, further away from the shore than we had been.
As the undertow pulled them out, they were suddenly hit by a huge wave.
I thought, we need to swim and get out of this because we're out of our depth.
Let go of the ring, Gemma. Let go of the ring and swim, Gemma. Let go of the ring and swim.
We were actually not going anywhere. We were swimming and just staying exactly in the same position.
In fact, Gemma was being dragged further away from Jan, towards a secondary line of waves.
It wasn't a question of your life flashing before you particularly, but the thoughts and feelings go through your mind very quickly. It was a mixture of feeling of guilt because I brought my child to this, a nightmare that every parent must dread, that you could be responsible for killing your child. I was just terrified that Claire would actually come in as well. I didn't want to panic her either, but I realised that she was our best bet to get any help at all.
Luckily, Claire realised that her mother and sister needed help urgently and turned to Andrew Plenty.
Help me, please! Help me, my mum, she needs help! Help me, please!
I could see that Jan was closer to me than Gemma, but seeing Gemma was further out, I really felt I had to go and get her first, thinking that she'd be in the more danger. It was a split-second decision, and a decision I had to make. I swam towards Jan just to calm her a bit.
It's all right. Just don't panic, okay? Keep your head up. I'll go after you, daughter.
I was so grateful and so happy that she was being saved.
Don't leave me!
But at the same time, I was so jealous that it wasn't me.
I wanted to have 2 sets of hands to go, and one to go off for Gemma and one just to stay with Jan, because I know how bad it must have been. I thought, oh crikey, what do I do, what do I do? So I just grabbed her around the neck and started to bring her in.
Look, for Christ's sake, don't panic. Come on, just keep that up. Just keep that up, don't panic. You're all right.
As I was dragging her, I was telling her not to, like, fight against the waves, more as, like, as they hit a sort of stroke with them, and it would take her in a lot quicker and a lot safer.
It's okay, you'll be all right now.
Don't leave me.
I'm gonna go and get your mum.
Don't leave me.
As I was leaving Gemma, I thought to myself, I was pretty tired by then, and if I went out for Jan as well, maybe I wouldn't be able to make it back in. But I was really her only hope at that point.
I seriously did not believe I was going to live, and I thought, well, this is it. This is what it's like to drown. This is how it's going to be.
Jan was exhausted. She couldn't keep afloat for much longer. But then 2 other local surfers realised that Andrew was struggling to reach her. David Carter and Mark Richardson ran in to help, taking their surfboard with them.
At that point, she started to go unconscious, and I didn't really know if she'd make it into the shore or not. And then I spotted the other 2 surfers coming in, David and Mark coming towards me.
Oh, just don't panic, just keep your head up.
I thought, right, I've got a chance here now. And that again gave me a bit more effort.
Hold on. Try and get it. Go on.
They were pushing me or encouraging me to get on the surfboard, which I did with some difficulty and clung to it like it was the last thing on earth, which it easily could have been.
Jan kept slipping off the board, but each time the boys pulled her back up, and by using the power of the waves to help them, slowly made their way back to shore.
Go with the waves. Keep her sat up. She's taking a lot of water. Just keep her sat up.
Well, that's it. It's great. I've got her onto the beach, and a great sense of relief come over me. I was so tired, I thought that was it. That's all I had to do.
Mummy!
You could see that she was in some trouble and that she needed medical attention quite fast. It was quite apparent that someone had to go and get some help.
Do you know where there's a phone at all?
Yeah, there's one at the other end.
Right, I'll go and get some help, okay?
Yeah.
Right, Mum, they've come to get help.
It was almost like football training. You finish one exercise and you think, oh, I have a breather now. And then you're made to do another one. There's no choice. You have to make another run. And you get that same wheezy, empty feeling as you're running along. And you're almost gone past being tired and you're just running automatically. It's like you're in a nightmare where you're running and running but never actually getting anywhere. I knew that it would be a race against time to get up the beach as fast as possible.
After all his efforts that day, Andrew had run at least a mile to phone for help.
Hello? Can I have the Coast Guard, please?
The Coast Guard alerted a rescue helicopter from Leon Solent.
It was only later that I discovered exactly what Andrew had done. What an extraordinary effort after swimming out and then, you know, leaping up the beach and just incredible. This sense of shame was quite dramatic. There's a sensation of, why should it be me? Why is it me that's been saved? It's a sense of, I should be the one that was out there saving other people. Other people shouldn't be wasting their time saving me. Your feelings are all over the place, ultimately. I had brought my daughter into that situation and could do nothing effectively to save her. And at the same time, I wanted to save myself and felt guilty for thinking that when I should be thinking about my child. I have been left with that sense of guilt.
That sense of guilt didn't go away for Jan, and as time went by, those complicated emotions came to dominate her life more and more. Jan's not alone in experiencing the disturbing after effects of a personal crisis. And it's not just national disasters like Hillsborough and King's Cross that leave people emotionally scarred. Increasingly, the victims of personal tragedies, of car crashes, of fires, are seeking treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder. And with help now available from the National Health Service, no one needs suffer alone. Many people who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder often experience flashbacks, images of an accident they just can't get out of their mind. They may find it difficult to relax and often have trouble sleeping. They may also feel very alone, unable to ask anyone for help. A feeling of guilt is normal too, in the way that Jan felt she was responsible for endangering her daughter's life. They avoid talking to people and visiting places that remind them of what happened.
I think in an extreme case of post-traumatic stress, you're getting so many memories of the dreadful event that you really see your ordinary life as if through a haze, through a film. And it means that you've really been totally changed as a person. You cannot get back to what you were like before. Roughly 40% of people who are in dreadful events will show a post-traumatic reaction, but so will 5% of rescuers, and many of them don't get the help which they need.
Jan had no idea what she was suffering from or how to get help. The key to her coming to terms with her feelings was finding out that professional help was available through the National Health Service.
To be told that the feelings that you're feeling are actually normal, as it were, or at least that the feelings that you're feeling don't mean that you're going out of your mind, that you are in fact more together than you think you might be, is such a relief. The next step is for me to go back to, and for Gemma indeed, to go back to the sea and at least make our peace with the sea. And who knows, maybe I'll make it.
That's obviously only the briefest guide to post-traumatic stress. If you want to find out more, write for the 999 Lifesaver Guide, which has facts and figures about all the information in this series. Send a cheque for £2.50, payable to BBC Education, to the 999 Lifesaver Guide, PO Box 7, London W3 6XJ. And you can find that address, as well as other life-saving information, on CFAX, page 686. Next week, an air crash in the depths of the country. A miracle if they survive.
I said it'd be a good idea to get them out of here, you know. If this goes up, like, you know, I said, there's no chance, you know, they're going to burn, like, you know, so we'll not be able to help them then.
Trapped in freezing water, and the passer-by who simply wouldn't let the boy drown.
He looked in a bad way. He was trying to hold onto the rocks. There was blood on the side of his head. He looked very tired. From what I could see, he only appeared to be semi-conscious.